If you are going to buy a used car right now, you should negotiate 10% off of the advertised price. That is what we're going with, Pops. We have the latest data from our friends at Black Book, plus all of the stories we're seeing from our own community. 10%. I think that's the number you should be aiming for. What do you think, Dad?
Well, you always believe bubbles are popping, and you believe 10%. I think if you can get somewhere between 5 and 10% off, that would be a more realistic expectation in today's market. But with what we're seeing, for I think the 7th, 8th, or 9th week in a row, is a continuing decline in wholesale values across the board. And even though the rate of depreciation or decline has gone down slightly, it is still significantly higher than what we had been seeing 7 or 8 weeks ago. So I think in certain segments, you should be able to get somewhere between 5 and 10% off of the asking price. Also, if I may, if you were to go on the Join YAA website and go through our vehicle listings, I would also check at the bottom of our listings where it shows what the 5 most recent prices have been on the vehicle. So you might not be able to get 5% or 17 or 10% off of today's price, considering the fact that they already took about 12% off of their asking price from 6 weeks ago.
The reason we are seeing auto listings actually finally starting to drop in price is because dealers are realizing, thanks to data from Black Book and others, they can no longer just turn around and go to the auction and sell their vehicles for more money than they had previously bought them. We're seeing, Dad, some of the interesting data from Black Book is actually sales rates at the auctions are starting to go down. Only 60% of vehicles that went across the auction lane last week sold. And that's because price floors, Black Book says that's because price floors were held tight by sellers. That means they were unwilling to go down to the highest bid and sell a car, one of the cars that they held in inventory that they're selling at the auction. Ultimately, what we're seeing here, Dad, is just wholesale prices are declining, which ultimately, as we talked about, we had videos that were like, wait 90 days, wait 4 to 6 weeks, wait another week or two. We are starting to see dealers actually struggle to sell cars, whether it's wholesale or retail, and that means one thing and one thing only: they have to lower the price.
Yes, and part of the reason we're seeing dealers struggle to sell cars at the moment is because the used car market is actually softening. There's fewer people in the market to buy cars today than there were 8 or 9 weeks ago. So the more people that are out of the market, the fewer the number of buyers are that all these dealerships are competing to get into their stores. And dealerships typically only understand one way to get people to come in, and that's through pricing. So they realize that they have to adjust their prices. Now, having said that, that doesn't necessarily translate into every model year of car. The 1 to 2 year old pre-owned cars are not depreciating in many cases anywhere near the rates of the 2 to 8 year old cars that they are. So it's going to depend on the segment, but for instance, that Mitsubishi that we showed, which was a 2018, well, that would be considered either a 4 or a 5 year old used car based on model years, because we're getting ready to go into the 2023 model year. So those cars are depreciating at a much more rapid pace than, say, if it was a 2021 or a 2020 Mitsubishi. Those, in many cases, are still either appreciating slightly or depreciating or going down in value much more slowly.
Okay, and the reality here is that on the new car side, this is a very brief new car update. There are still no new cars for certain brands. Okay,
Yes.
Go read the latest headline in automotive news about Toyota and how they had their 4th straight month of worse and worse production. The reality is, on the used car side, we typically look at segments broken down by type of vehicle: subcompacts versus compacts versus full size luxury and Now we need to also add another cohort that we look at, which is how old the vehicle is. is because 0 to 2 year old cars, like you just said, because the new car shortage is so severe, their prices, we expect their prices to stay more elevated than the older vehicles,
Yes.
the 2 to 8 year old vehicles. Those will and are more negotiable than ever before. And so if you can find one and you see an advertised price, you see the price has dropped, again, I would aim for 10%. Because what's the dealership going to do? Take it to the auction and lose more money there and not even have the chance to upsell you their great extended warranty and gap insurance and all that? Like, Deal School, join YAA.com/Deal School, has never been more valuable right now. Right now is what I meant to say, because Dad, it is truly a buyer's market for used cars, and it hasn't been, especially relative to where we've been over the past 18 months. It was entirely a seller's market. You had no leverage. We are finally seeing days on lot go up. We are seeing the amount of used vehicle listings go up. So inventory is up, how long it's sitting is going up, and at the same time, interest rates are going up. That means it's more expensive to keep those cars on the lot. In the used car market, again, are the values fair? No, because used cars went up 30, 40, 50% last year. But if you absolutely need to buy a used car right now, aim for 10% off.
Yes, you definitely have more leverage today than you had 2 months ago. And I believe you'll have more leverage moving forward over the next several weeks than you had even today. On certain segments of cars. If you're looking at a 1 or 2 year old car, you're not going to have nearly the same amount of leverage. If you're looking at a 3, 4, 5, 6 year old car, you should have leverage. And really, if you go in and you make an offer of 10% less than what the dealer is asking for, the worst they can say is no. That's the worst they can say. Okay, they might say, well, I can't get you that much off, but what if I could get you this much off? Well, that would indicate that they're at least willing to negotiate, at least willing to do the negotiation dance with you, so that there will be some savings there. And just 2 months ago at most dealerships, if you would have asked for anything off, they would tell you to leave because there were many buyers right behind you. But the number of buyers right behind you is going down. Okay. And so they should value more as a potential customer today than they would have 8 weeks ago. And they will value you much more as a customer tomorrow and moving forward than they would today, because there's fewer and fewer buyers out there.
Now, got to mention this, Dad. Today is the last day for our Inflation Fighter special, 20% off if you join YAA as a member. So please, if you're going to buy a used car in this market, join us. Join us for a month, join us for the year. It doesn't really matter. We're here to help you save some money. And fortunately, just because you watched this video, you shared it with a friend, the whole 9 yards, you are going to save some money because you've waited and you've gotten to the right place at the right time. Go use the code IFS at joinyaa.com if you do want to join us. Pops, good news. Really, really, really excited about this. And if you're watching this video right when it dropped around 11 a.m. Eastern time on August 31st, go search in YouTube Ray and Zach. We will be interviewing live the Black Book team at 12 p.m. Eastern. Same day, just an hour later from this video dropping. Go watch that live stream. There's a lot of interesting things that we can learn from the Black Book team to try and project out. Like you were saying, Dad, how long will this weakening last? What about the new car production side? What about repos? We'll be talking about all that and more with the Black Book team over there.
Absolutely. It was good chatting with you today, Zach.